Yo, what is good, guys? It is Armbard. Welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, I'd really appreciate if you guys would subscribe, leave a like down below if you guys would. I'd appreciate it very, very much. If you guys read by the title, today we are going to be showing you guys how to comp and price out your UFC cards, or just your, in general, any of your sports cards, the absolute best way possible and the free way versus the paid way. Doesn't really matter. In my opinion, the prices are still the prices. So yeah, let's get straight to the video. Alright, if you guys are noticing, we're going to be playing some B-roll clips of the cards we're talking about as we're talking about them. First card we're going to be talking about is the Shavkat Rakhmonov Brick by Brick Refractor PSA 10. So, if you guys aren't too familiar with what a population report is, a population report is through PSA, SGC, BGS, basically any grading service. A population is just how many of those cards are graded in that specific grade in the population. So, for instance, the card that you guys are seeing, that Shavkat Rakhmonov PSA 10, that is a Pop 1, Population 1. There's none higher, none lower. Obviously, it's a PSA 10, so there can be none higher, but there is none lower. So that means that is the only card of that graded, just like that one. So we're going to be talking about how to pick and decipher like a price range on that card. So, guys, there is a couple different options for looking up cards and trying to find a comparable price. The first one I'm going to suggest is eBay. Everyone knows about eBay, but I'm going to show you guys how to filter and find the exact price of what the card sold for, and then maybe going on to a different website and trying to really hone down and figure out that specific price. So first we are going to look up the card. So as you can see, we got it all typed up right here. As you can see, this is the exact card that I have, but raw, not in a PSA 10. Obviously, it's a $2 card. I didn't grade this card, so I'm not in it for grading costs. I bought the card aftermarket after it was already graded. So we're going to look at some different options here. First one, we got a gold out of 50 in the Brick by Brick Refractor. So exact card I got, but in a gold refractor in a PSA 10. That one did $45 on 2 bids. We got the PSA 10 numbered out of 10 black refractor, I believe, right? Yeah, out of 10, PSA 10. That did $163. So obviously we have nothing near that. Here's another gold out of 50, did $54. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how to see what these cards are sold for. So when you see a card on eBay that has this slash mark through it, we're going to show you guys how to get that exact price. So all you really have to do is copy the exact listing of what the card was titled for on eBay. Then we're going to go to this website called 130point. You can see it's right here. You're going to click Marketplace Data. This just takes you through every single possible marketplace of Golden, MySlabs, Fanatics, Pristine, eBay, and Heritage to try and see and give you a price of what that card exactly did. So as you can see, that card did $54 crossed out. So the average person may be thinking that's a $54 card, but if, further looking at it, if you go through 130 point, did $40, best offer accepted. So it's about what the one did on December 11th. That did a month before that, so that's actually, pretty good. So we go to, here's a base select. That is a rookie, so it's $15, pop 9. We got a 2024 finest, pop 1. Let's see what this actually did. So I'd say for cards like this, always continue to check through 130 point to actually see what they did. Like you saw before, someone could say the card was a $54 card. You could pay almost full price. You could say $60, and it's end up being a $40 card. Also, for instance, like this one did $225, best offer accepted. It actually was taken, sale price at $200, so they took $25 off of the original price they had. Here we go with, here's a Topps Chrome 2024. So this could just be like a gauge of where. So here's PSA 10 pop 1. So there's 2 in the pop. This is same year as mine. It's also a refractor. So it did $16.33. So it did $30 with the best offer accepted was $16.33. Don't know if that's exactly what they paid or if that was the paid price after fees. So as you can see, we're not looking through autos. We're not looking through extremely low numbered cards. We're looking just for straight up refractors around the same 2023 2024 year non-rookies in a PSA 10. So here's a 2024 Topps Finest insert like mine is also an insert, but this is numbered to 39. That did $34. So if I had to put a rough estimate on my card, I'd honestly say it's probably worth around $15 to $20 on the Shafkat Rachmaninoff PSA 10 brick by brick refractor in a PSA 10. That is population 1. So going through all the checks, I'd say it's probably around $15 to $20 in the current grade it's in. And that's just going through and looking at other sales on cards. And like I said, that is just for an example on a card that is Pop 1, population 1, and has no previous comps and has nothing you can really base it off of. Trying to figure out how to base and get a price for your card without having to see exactly what one had sold for. So guys, the next card we are going to be looking at is a Dan Hardy 2011, numbered out of 8, ruby red. If you guys have been on my channel, you guys have seen this card before. I've had it for a while. It's definitely one of the cards I really like and enjoy in my collection. So we are going to try and find a price for that right now. So guys, on these older cards, it's going to be a lot harder to find a comparable price and a sold price. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this on eBay. When you go to eBay and you look to try and sell, make sure you're always clicking sold items and completed. You're always clicking sold and completed items. You don't want to go and just see things what people are posting them for, because people can post them for any price they want. You know what I mean? So if we're going through here, we're strictly looking for 2011, maybe 2010 if we can find it. Numbered out of 8, preferably on like a base card, not in an insert. As you can see, like mine was, it's just a base card, but the ruby red insert out of 8. So it's basically the base, just not an inserted card. It's kind of harder to explain. It's also non-patch, non-autoed. So as you see this one right here, 2010 Topps Dan Hardy. This is pretty much rookie year. This is 2010, so mine was 2011. This is obviously way better with a patch auto, numbered out of 8. That did $90. So that's where we can first gauge where a ruby red max price of a patch auto would do, is around 90 to 100 bucks. Here we go with a 2010 Dan Hardy, just cage relic, little authentic cage. I don't know if that's an actual part. It's actually pretty cool. Part of the cage, numbered out of 8. That did $71. Obviously, that is a cage relic, so maybe a higher ceiling than I'd say mine would be. Alright, so we're going to be going through a couple other options here. We're going to go through 130 point and see if there's anything that we can find that had sold. Got Pat Barry on the patch auto, that did $40. Stipe, obviously you can't go off GSP. Dan Hardy 2010 patched out of 188 did $8. Gray Maynard 2010 Topps UFC main event did $40. That's 2010. Mine's 2011. A Michael Chiesa 2015 Topps ruby red 8 out of 8 did $30. A JDS did around 40. 2019 Tony Ferguson did 35. Carlos Condit 2014. So it's around, if you're looking now, I'd say Dan Hardy is around a Carlos Condit level, maybe a Michael Chiesa level, maybe a Gray Maynard level. I'd say they're all probably within the same ballpark type of fight range. So you can see this 2012 Bloodlines Topps patch did $70. So basing it off of these prices, without trying to find, like I said, an exact price sold, you try and compare them of maybe other fighters that are kind of around the same price range-ish. So that 2011 Topps ruby red numbered at 8 Dan Hardy, I'd say personally, in my opinion, I'd ask $50 to $65. You obviously start the 65 range with no sales. Maybe you go down to 45, 50. Just how lenient and how much you are into the card personally. I personally got that card for a good deal on Whatnot, so I'm nowhere into it near 40, 50, $65. So I'd say that's a great purchase in my opinion, and just another good card to add to my collection. Next up, guys, we are going to be going through and talking about the Rory McDonald 2016 top of the class patch auto number to 25. Alright guys, so you can see right here, starting it off, we got a 2015 Topps patch auto of 125. That did $20 cross out. So with what we know on 130 point, let's try and figure out what this one did. Mine is out of 25, so not out of 125. So it is definitely smaller numbered. So we have to take that into accountability when we're looking this up. not seeing it specifically, but let me, yeah, I looked it up correctly. Yeah, guys, sometimes, for instance, like on the UFC cards, they're not as easy to find a price for because, you know, it's obviously not in the market as much. So let's just keep going. Here's 2012. That's first autograph. Cannot go anything off that. 2013 Bloodlines. We got 2015. That's triple threads. Beautiful stuff right there. Out of 8 autograph. You got just a relic out of 188. Got an auto out of 8. Did $40. 2013 patch auto. So here we go. We can kind of look at this. Did $30 Canadian. So this is a jumbo matte relic from UFC 145. So it's also event, like with an actual event that we know. Did approximately around $23 on bids. Okay, so that's non-numbered. That's definitely a good place to start. Let's try and see if we can just look up any, not specific years. His stuff definitely does not go up for sale as much as you'd think. I'd definitely say his market is a lot slower. Obviously, he doesn't fight currently anymore, but he definitely has a good following. Him and Robbie Lawler have an absolutely legendary run and a couple fights. So, like I said, with these, it's a lot harder to find because you're specifically looking for these older cards. So, if I had to personally go and say, let's see. Let's just go with an auto out of 25. So here we go. Here's the top of the class. They're asking $80. So like I said, you cannot always go off what they're asking for the card. Hence why it's not a sold price. So let's try and see if we can go to a sold and completed listing on that. You know, here's a matte relic. Triple threads at 18. Did $80 cross. So this, I think, is probably honestly going to be the closest thing we can find. It's not even really close, but it will give us a good idea to start on our card and see what we're going to ask for it. So mine is 2016. This is 2014. And it's not giving me any UFC cards. That's the only thing that sucks, is you kind of have to look. So here's a patch that did $18, non-auto $35, non-auto $39, non-auto again $30. Like I said, these are all Topps triple threads, so you have to take this with a grain of salt. I would honestly say my Rory McDonald's probably somewhere around $40. Just going through and looking at some of these other prices. For instance, some of these like jumbo matte relics, yeah, it's rookie year, but you got to take an accountability that this is a patch auto out of 25 and it's top of the class from a very nice looking product. And the auto non-patch, no sales on either of the cards, is asking $80. So I'd say starting around $50 would be a good starting price range with that card. That's just me personally. Like I said, nobody can maybe want to pay that, but that's just where I'm going to personally ask on the price range. Alright guys, with the last card we're going to be looking at is the UFC debut Quinton Rampage Jackson in SGC 85. So if we look right here, it's obviously going to be a lot harder to find, like I said, because these are older cards. This is 2009 UFC Topps Round 1. So this is basically one of the first premier products to drop for UFC. You have two raw prices of $20. On these older cards, an 85 is a pretty solid price because people do not put these cards up and, you know, absolutely keep them in the best quality. It's pretty hard to find a exact price. Let me just try and look up SGC, which mine is graded through. So there's the two raw ones. That doesn't help. We got that's the gold rookie. That did 120 crossed. Obviously, probably didn't do anything near that, but mine's not the gold. It's just the base rookie. Let's see. We have a second year auto. Did 30. That's a beautiful card, actually. Wow. $33. That's a good deal. $37. Let me see if I can find anything else besides these two raw sales. I think that's all I actually was able to find when I first looked it up. There's UFC round 2. That's raw. So let's try and see if there's people that have anything posted for sale on this in specific. So we have an SGC 9.5. Someone's asking $200. That's a new listing. We got a BGS 9. That's numbered to 288, so you can't really base that off mine. That's an on-card rookie auto. We got 6 watchers on the just the base non-graded. That's at $40. We got another rookie, number 288. That's a PSA 10. Can't really go off that. So, let's see. Basing it just off of a raw price, I'd say this is at least double the price, in my opinion. So it's at least a $40 to $50 card, if I had to guess. We're going to try and look on 130 point. Alright, so like I said, we were going to continue to keep looking. I found a raw sale on a card to $10, January 24th. Another raw one did $14, January 14th. Another raw one did $20. So like these cards are jumping all around. Another one did $25, $20. So I'd say honestly, roughly around $40 to $50 for a SGC 8.5 would be maybe not bad. Let's see what this one did. We got a PSA 8. That's not a PSA 8 actually at all. Why did they tell me that? That is very odd. Because the PSA 8 here did 1850, December of 2025. That's PSA 8. This is a SGC 8.5. I'd say, if anything, maybe closer to a PSA 9. So here we go. Here's, wow, that is an insane deal. That was also 2018. So you have to put years and dates into perspective on these as well. So here we go. PSA 8 did $32. I'd say an SGC 8.5 is obviously better. So like I said, my price range of 40 to 45 wasn't a bad call exactly on that one. And then, wow, look at that deal. 2018, you got a rookie 8.5 and out of 288. That's an insane deal. So honestly, like I said, around $40 to $45 on this. It's a lot harder to find these cards that do not have direct comps and sales. So I thought I'd give you guys a video and try and talk about how to price and figure out some ranges of how to depict on how your card should do and would do when you sell it, or when you do sell it, or how to ask for a price. So I hope this did help. If it did help a little bit, leave a like down below. Comment some ideas and some suggestions you guys want to see soon. I'm knocking out as many videos as I can. I'd really appreciate the support. Subscribe if you're new. I will catch you guys in my next video. I'm out.